Okay. And just make sure we're good here. Great. So welcome everybody to our Monday night new time Team Pagination training call. Now, I just want everybody to know that this is not just for Team Pagination. This is all about training for anybody that is on the field, anybody that wants to get on this call. You're more than welcome to get on this call. You're more than welcome. I'm opening it up to guests, people that may be interested in learning a bit more. Other teammates, I totally believe in the philosophy of one team. And I know that there's so many of you that believe in that philosophy. And it's something that we've all done together. It's something that we've all built together to have that one team connection. And we all don't have to be connected financially by any means. This is a grab the rope together and let's all tug in the same direction and support. So thank you all for being on the call. And it's my extreme pleasure to have our guest trainer on tonight who has trained before, and all of her trainings are dynamite. So if you actually want to see more of Darlene's trainings, you can go into either my YouTube channel, which is just Terry St. Ammon on YouTube, or you can go in the guides tab in the Team Pagination group. And I believe it is guide 3, I believe, is recorded calls. And you can click on that and scroll through. I believe there's well over 300 training calls. So you'll never be starved for information. And I'm sure that if you have questions on anything, you can go in there in the short term and have a look, and hopefully it will help you. But Darlene has been in this over 7 years now, I believe, and joined shortly after the company started. And I didn't know Darlene until 7 years ago, and met her through her sponsor, Jen Moyer. And we've become great friends. And as I've always said, and Darlene knows this, that really that's a real true success in this business, as far as I'm concerned, is being able to make friends. And I know there's been a lot of other relationships forged through this company, and I think that we should all be very, very grateful for that. And Darlene is not only a great friend, but she's a consummate professional in everything she does. She is one of the most caring people I know. She's been an RMT for, geez, I don't even know how long now, Darlene, but it's 33. Been a long time. How many years now?
33.
33.
Actually, 32.
32 years. 32, 33 amongst friends. It's okay. And then is also a cognitive behavioral coach. She has another couple of titles she's working on, or courses that she's finishing as well, and delighted that she's always continuing to improve on her skills and apply them to the Super Patch company. So it is my great delight, my great pleasure to introduce our guest trainer tonight, Darlene Reimer Fros. Take it away and welcome, Darlene.
Okay, thanks, Terry. Yeah, so my world and how everything has kind of evolved around my world through the behavioral coaching. I'm not a therapist. I don't have that sort of degree, but through the coaching part of it, I've kind of done a lot of that through my massage therapy as well. So that's what got me into that. And through studying that, there's a lot of principles that can be applied to network marketing that is going alongside of that whole cognitive therapy, cognitive behavioral things. And this is one of the things that I had been studying on about resistance. And when I spoke last on the practitioners, I spoke on resistance, and I said, I could go down another rabbit hole. Well, this is the rabbit hole. So this has been fun to kind of see that come out, and would like to share some of the things that have really hit light bulbs for me. And hopefully that can help help you too. Somebody just said transferable skills. Absolutely. So my dad was one that was a very quiet leader and left a lot of legacy. And one of the legacies, it's kind of humorous, but it's very very powerful. Is that we would be watching football or something like that, and I would say, "Who are you cheering for?" And he says, "Well, who's going to lose?" And I says, "What do you mean who's going to lose?" It says, "Well, you always cheer for the underdog." And you know, 90 there's a good percentage of times that he in cheering for the underdog um won. You know, his team would win and it would be even that much more powerful and more emotional and that sort of thing. So and that has kind of always stuck with me. And so when I take a look at coaching and massage and network marketing too, there's always that underlying who needs me the most, or who is struggling, or who needs something. And when you think about that as far as business sense, there's a lot of psychology behind resistance or people rejecting you, and that can really eat up a lot of your whole energy of how much you have reserves to do your business. And so that's kind of the avenue that I want to take with this, in that if there has been resistance to you sharing the business or sharing the product, and that has zapped kind of your gasoline tank, so to speak, that you just want to kind of you want to be refreshed, or you want to have that avenue or that permission to move past that. This is a training call for you. So how I want to adopt this is getting into what would make someone reject you, or what would make someone resist what you have to offer. And there's four things that I'm going to be bringing up in what would cause somebody to resist you, or to reject you. Like I say, that is has nothing to do with you. And I guess that's the biggest part that I want to get across, is that the reason that people may say no to you or your product could very likely have absolutely nothing to do with you. So that is your first takeaway, is like this may not be anything to do with you. So just know that right off the bat. And so the four things, I'll start with the first one. People will resist or reject anything that threatens how they view themselves. So if you're taking notes, people will resist or reject any threat to how they view themselves. So this is where you're going to get into the talk that I had done on practitioners, where if you're going to, if they feel that they are educated, if they feel they are the professional out of the two of you, if they feel that they have worked very hard for what they have, and you come in with a product that threatens that, they will resist you. And so that falls in line with the talk that we had on reaching out to healthcare professionals. There that resistance comes from them being threatened, that being threatened by how they view themselves. Okay, so that's one of them. This can be professionals, it can be teachers, the well-educated. Um, it's not a slam against them, but they may feel that they have done the work, so they want to be respected that way, and they don't want somebody that really has no knowledge of neurological product or neurological events or different things to come at them and saying, here's a really cool neurological thing that you need to know about. Right away that wall comes up. We've talked about that with the healthcare professionals and sharing the business with them. So that is the very first one, how they view themselves. If they feel they are threatened in how they view themselves, they will resist you right off the bat. That can also be taken as far as somebody that has more of an authoritarian aspect. You'll get this you know, if you want to get into narcissism and stuff like that too. But the whole authoritarian business, where if you are if they view you as a lesser person than them, then that also may be a resistance that they feel, that really has nothing to do with them, with you, sorry. It has to do with how they perceive themselves. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why they may have. The other one that goes along with that, ironically, is people with chronic pain conditions. Because if they view themselves as somebody who has a chronic pain condition that doesn't go away, it won't go away. I've tried everything, and you're going to tell me that what you have can help me. Um, because of what they know of themselves, they're going to resist that. So that can be another a whole nother layer of people that will find the threat to what they believe about themselves or how they view themselves. So that is one. So if they feel like you're threatening how they view themselves, they will resist you. And again, when I'm presenting these, it's more a matter of the more you know, the more you can well, I'll get into how to apply them, but the more you know, the better, as far as some of these perspectives. Number two, people will resist or reject things that will threaten how they uh, feel that other people view them. So I'll give you an example. I was at a friend's house and she ordered skip the dishes for us, and it didn't come. And so I'm like, well, let's knock on the neighbor's house and see if it's there. And she went ballistic. She says, no, they already think I'm crazy. You are not going to go over there and you're not going to ask them where my meal is. Now I'm already a loser. And, like she went on this big long rant and like, oh, crazy. Okay. Yep. Um, fine. We'll just, calm down. She was really having quite a panic attack that I would just do something really, to me, was very benign. It's like, well, let's just go ask the neighbor if it got to their house instead of your house. But because she felt that they already had that view of her, that she was either incompetent or whatever, like anything that was going to make her look even worse to them, she wanted nothing to do with it. So that was a real, like, it really opened my eyes to that whole resistance against how they feel other people view them. So that is in the negative side. And then also in the other way, again, you're looking at professionals. If other people view them as you are the textbook knowledgeable person, what are you doing with a neurological sticker? Then they're thinking, okay, what are people going to think if I do this? So if that is going to threaten how they feel people would view them, uh, then you're going to get a resistance or a rejection there too. I think I've shared before about the physiotherapy guy that I had shared with, and he was all over it. He was like, "This is cool. This is the best." He had no care what other people thought of him, but there are a lot of people that do. There are a lot of people that will only do things to amplify or complement the positives that they felt in the past, and they will completely resist anything that will go against that. So that is number two. They will resist or reject anything that will be a threat to how they feel other people view them. So yes, so it can also enforce a belief that they already see me as a weirdo. Okay, that got into that. Um, the other one that can go along with that too is, especially for professionals, would be somebody that would make a judgment like, how could you fall for that? I know when I got into it, my daughter was in kinesiology, and she said to me, I said, we got talking about pain, and she had knee pain. And so I suggested a product to her, and she's like, I can't believe you fell for that. Like, you're smart, mom. Like, how could you fall for that? And I'm like, because I know more than you do. That's why I fell for it, because it's actually kind of cool and kind of real. And but there again, it was, if I would have cared how people viewed me, as far as if my own insecurities had any bit of a play in that, I'm going to care how people feel about me. So then that would have made me not get into this business or this product, because there would be that resistance there. So that is against how other people view them. Third one, now this is a really cool psychological thing. Based on, they will resist anything that is a threat to what they know to be true. So I'll give you a really cool example that I was trained in. If you have a little toddler and you teach this toddler that you can take a blue crayon and draw a triangle and say, little Jimmy, that is a green circle. And every day you draw a blue triangle and you say, that is a green circle. That little boy is going to go to kindergarten. He's going to be all excited because the teacher is going to say, okay, I need everybody to draw me a green circle. And he rushes through and he finds the blue crayon and he draws a big blue triangle. There's my green circle. And the teacher says, "You're wrong." And he's devastated. It's like, but that's that's what I know to be true. And he's crushed. Like this is how if you go down that whole avenue of childhood trauma, it doesn't have to be a traumatic event that is traumatizing. It can be something as simple as, no, what you were told and what you were taught up to this point is not true. And this is where we get into people that we've come across and saying, no, like you, what is in your textbook is not the end of the knowledge that's out there. It's only the end of what you've been taught. And if they're not willing to look past that, you're going to have resistance. There are many people that will look past that, but there are many that won't. So if it threatens what they know to be true, that's where you're going to be having some resistance to that. There's also, which I won't get into tonight, but there's also different learning curves as far as what people will know and what they won't know. And there's a fine line. There's four avenues of that as well. And there's a fine line between point two and point three where they find out that there's more than they know. Now they have to decide if they're gonna what they're gonna do with that knowledge. They're either going to learn more or they're going to delete what just happened in their mind and they're going to go into this ignorant bliss. And you can't change their mind on that. You can only provide them with information. So, but that's a whole nother training session. But if you challenge what they know to be true, chances are they're going to resist you. Um, in that, you can also turn that around because you can convince them otherwise, but that'll go into the next one. So the fourth one, they will resist you or reject you um, if you take away their autonomy. I always get this word, I can't pronounce this word, autonomy. Autonomy. Yes. Autonomy is the ability to make an informed decision uncoerced. So that is where you're providing them with information. They get to choose. So we've just gone through how many years of what some would consider coercion as far as medical things. And this is that whole, when you feel that that autonomy is taken away from you in your choices, you're going to resist it. And some people don't even feel like it's a threat and they'll just go ahead with it. But some people, if they feel that threat, they will resist you. And so in that, basically, that changes how you talk to them. Um, so these are the people that you'll tell them something like, you need this, and all of a sudden all the hairs on the back of their neck stick up and they're going to shut down right away because you've told them what they need. So in their mind, possibly because of past events, possibly because of how they grew up, any number of reasons, they're going to say, I will not be told what to do. I will make my own decisions. So how you present, and other people even tell them you need this, is like, oh, cool. Okay. And they'll do it. But not everybody's like that. So if you find that is one of the resistance patterns that you face, they're not rejecting you. Again, all of these are about, they're not rejecting you. They're rejecting a certain pattern that they have been presented with. So you can play a little game with them where it's almost like a would you rather game. Would you rather keep the pain that you're in, or would you rather look at options, not be out of pain? Be careful how you word it. When you're providing them with more information so that they can choose, they will go with it. Because people will resist what you tell them, not what they conclude. So that's a really cool one. People will resist what you tell them, not what they conclude. So if you give them options, would you rather live like this or experience this, or would you rather look at possibilities that may take you out of that situation? So again, you're giving them a choice to respond to versus telling them what to do. So that was the fourth one. They will resist or reject you if you're taking that autonomy away or that control that they have away. And I know when Ray Higdon was a part of when some of us were doing the Ray Higdon thing, he had a great avenue, a great sentence that basically gave you a way out. And that is his statement would be, and if not, that's okay. So if you give them an out, if you say, would you like to try this? If not, that's okay. Then that person is relieved right away. And they're like, oh, okay, well, If there's no pressure, then sure, why not? So that would help them make those choices. So those are my four. I'm actually going to keep this under a half an hour, Terry. This is great. I don't think I've ever talked this short. I'm going to go over the four, and then I'm going to leave you with three conclusions at the end. So people will resist or reject you. Number one, it's a feel others view them.
Hey, Dar, can you go back? Can you go back and do number one again? Because you froze there.
Okay, sorry. They will resist or reject if it's a threat to how they view themselves. Number two, if they feel it's a threat to how other people view them. Number three, if it's a threat to what they know to be true up to that point. And number four is if it's threatening their autonomy or their ability to make a choice. So those are the four patterns that they may have a resistance to that have nothing to do with you. This has to do with their experiences, their knowledge base, their perceptions, not you. You're walking into their world, right? So when you walk into their world, that's where they may feel that threatening piece come up. So how can you apply this in your business or in your dealings at a show, or I mean, for goodness, if talking about family members or anything? Um, Number one, resistance is generally not about you. So that kind of I've said all the way along, but I'll repeat it again because it's worth repeating. The resistance or rejection that you may be getting is usually not about you. So number two, you can begin, because of that knowledge, you can begin to navigate those discussions and be able to walk them through this. So one of the examples I have of that, when we did a show, it was a very large show, and there was a lot of people going by, and they weren't engaging because we were having trouble getting people into the booth. So I ended up taking a product out into the hallway and saying, "Tell me how this works," and handed it to them. And they're like, "Well, what's this?" And it's like, "You tell me. You see my banner here. You tell me how this works." And like, "I don't know." It says, "Well, feel it. Like, you tell me how this might work." And then they'd start to analyze. They'd start to try and figure this out. It's like, well, it looks like there's something here, and is this a pattern? It's like, you're onto something. And the more you encourage them and let them try and figure that out on their own, the more they feel pretty good about this. So there too, like, it's an engagement. So knowing these resistance patterns will allow you to navigate discussions, and in that way, it actually led us into having that discussion. It's like, well, yeah, you're pretty close. This is what it actually does. And that's, well, how does that do this? It's like, well, now that you've asked, and then you can go on and explain the tech, versus saying, hey, you need this for you or your family because this is the best thing since sliced bread. And they're like, no, peanut butter is the best thing since sliced bread because that's what I know. Like, you might not be on any remotely the same page. So knowing these resistance patterns will allow you to navigate. So that is the second point. So the first one, it's not about you. The second one, knowing these patterns will help you to navigate the discussions. And number three, the best thing is that when the pressure is off, meaning you don't have to be the one that's being rejected, when the onus is on them, the pressure is off of you, and you can just go ahead and do what you love, which is share and help people. And that has been the best thing for me, knowing that I don't have to sell a product. I can just share something that has helped me and my family, and I understand it and I love it. And if they don't want it, use that statement. It's okay. There are plenty of people that do. Move on. But it allows you to have that freedom to do that. I'll give you an example. My girlfriend, when she got introduced to it, she's another massage therapist. She says, I could never sell this. I just can't sell anything. And I said, tell me who could use this. And so she started listing it off. And I said, tell me who you tell that they should use an ice pack. Well, about 2/3 of them. And well, what about the other third? Well, the other third needs heat. And I said, and you have no trouble telling them to go home and do that. Well, no, because they need it. He says, well, then tell them as a therapist what you know to be true so that they can figure it out on their own what is going to be true for them. You just didn't give me a reason that I could not do this. It's like, no, I took it away from you. So, and she's like, well, okay, I guess I could, if you put it that way, then I guess I can do that. And again, it allows you to do what you love and what you want to do. And it takes the pressure off knowing that these resistances or the rejection that you may have at a booth for any given time, it's not about you. You have perfect freedom to go ahead and just continue to be you. And you will draw the people in that are attracted to you the way you do it. And those are the people that you want to work with. So there you go. 3 minutes to spare.
Oh, that's fantastic, Darlene. And you know what? When you touched on that point about, you know, about what they know to be true. I can remember Kevin Dugay when we first started this way back when, was almost mad, and all the schooling and everything that he knew to be true wasn't necessarily that wasn't true. It's just that he didn't know about what the possibilities could be of these other things. So it took him a real long time to grasp that and to embrace it until, he was able to do some of his own research and do his own testing and his own whatever, which sometimes we have to let people do that, right?
Yep.
Because we're not trying to get people, we're trying to offer them a solution, an alternative to something that they may not know about, and encourage them to learn about it, encourage them to take the time they need to understand this better, and make it very not condescending at all, and manipulative in the conversation whatsoever, but understanding what, to the best of your ability, what they already know to be true. I think it's such a key point for sure.
Yep.
So thank you for that. We got a couple minutes for discussion. Does anybody want to ask Darlene a question here just quickly? You can raise your hand just quickly. We could take one or two before the hour. And if not, then we can say goodnight. I don't see any hands up. It was very thorough. So anyway,
Pretty black and white.
What's that? Pretty straightforward.
Pretty black and white. It was pretty straightforward.
But pretty solid. I got a lot of that. I mean, I like the last one, the number 3, of knowing you don't have to sell it.
Yep.
This is about sharing and offering.
And if all you do at that point is educate them, do the follow-up though. Like get their number and says, hey, can I send you another study? Can I, like, if they're very cognitive, can I send you another study? I don't have the link on me right now. Just not necessarily, can I follow up with you? Because that gets very scary. It's like you're still going to try and sell me something if I give you my email. No, can I offer you some more information so that you can make your own choice?
Perfect.
There are people that you'll be able to weed that through and just say, you know what, this person is not going to handle me telling them what they need. Let's give them more information, but get their email so you can follow through with them on
Correct.
that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, on behalf of everybody that's on this call and the 40 or so that we're streaming in our team page, I'd like to thank you, Darlene, for stepping up. And of course, it was short notice, and I appreciate that. And you people may have seen that I put a post in our team page that if you feel you have something to offer, as far as knowledge or as far as experience goes, which you feel could benefit the field, it helps you get out of your comfort zone. And I know that
It's not that scary.
Yeah, it's not that scary.
It's not that scary. It's a Zoom. It's okay.
I was scared for the first 2 years hosting this call. So, I mean, I didn't show it, but I had the most sweaty armpits when I was done every call that you could ever imagine. But we like to hear from everybody, and not only, it's not always about training other people. It's about getting out of your own comfort zone and doing it, because we're not looking for perfection. We're just looking for growth. And
we're looking for perspective, because everybody has a perspective that is unique, and chances are you will reach who you need to reach.
Exactly. So Thanks once again. I'm going to just stop this recording.